KOSP, Brookline, Springfield. It's time for the starting lineup with Scott Purdy, Ned Reynolds, and Art Haynes on 102.1 The One. Always the sure bet.
And we are delighted to have you with us, back with the starting lineup again. And the starting lineup is brought to you by Play It Again Sports in the Fremont Shopping Center, Battlefield and Fremont, Springfield, by Marshfield Chevrolet at the I-44 exit, and a couple of left turns, and you're right there at Marshfield Chevrolet, and some great deals. Citizens Bank of Rogersville with two locales, one adjacent to Highland Springs and the other in Rogersville itself, and Swing Right Golf. And Swing Right Golf is located on Campbell Avenue, just a little bit north of Nixa. Great opportunities, folks, and wonderful ones indeed. And also by Travis Bell. If you will, sir, tell us a little bit about your old high school teammate.
Well, if you want to get a home loan, you have to go through a mortgage company. Wouldn't you rather go through it with somebody that's been in the business for 25-plus years? Well, Travis Bell, who is a Nixa boy, is one of those people that can help you out. Go to TravisBellHomeLoans.com or give him a call at 417-818-5057.
And indeed, we continue with the show. I'm Ned Reynolds, along with
Dwight Glenn,
Guy Newton, and Art Haynes.
And Art Haynes joining us from afar. You have to remember, Art, we have three guys in here instead of just the two of us.
I know.
It takes a village, Art. Good to hear your voice.
You too, Dwayne.
Now,
Dwight, sorry.
That's okay. It's been confused with my dad for 54 years. No big deal.
And as cold as it is, you're allowed to commit many errors on this. You haven't been outside yet, have you, Art?
No.
And you don't want to go out either.
I've seen what it is on my phone, and, yeah, I don't want to go out.
I had the wonderful experience of I leave my house about 5:15, somewhere around there, and my windshield wipers were frozen. Oh boy. My gee. Anyway, we had Selection Sunday yesterday. What are your thoughts?
Well, it went pretty much, Joe Lenardi has got an end with somebody. Every year he gets them all right.
Yep.
And he did again. No real surprises. I guess SMU was the somewhat controversial one, and they did finish very badly. But they got a net of 37. And one of their top players has missed the last 6 games, during which they've gone 1-5. But he will be back. So I think, they get in over Oklahoma. And I'm tired of this Auburn talk, which has all been fueled by Bruce Pearl. Yeah, they played a really tough schedule. They lost 16 games.
Yeah.
Nobody that's lost 16 games has ever gotten an at-large bid. So I think it was about as it should be.
And he being Coach Pearl, was very contrite, I thought, on the pre- and post-selection shows that they had. And when they said Auburn's not in there, but Miami of Ohio is, thank you. And there's no way you could keep them out. Were you a little surprised, though, that they got a play-in game?
Not really. It's going to be, they play SMU. It's going to be like a home game for Miami playing in Dayton. So I don't know that they were treated badly, really. That was just they were the last team in. That's what the committee chairman said, they and SMU. So that's just a statement about their schedule, which they can't help, as they play in a mediocre conference.
How about Texas and North Carolina State in a play-in game? That did surprise me.
Well, the NC State part did. Texas was a bubble team also.
Yes.
NC State falling to that level maybe surprised me, but not that much. That's about where they should be.
So play-in games, and we talked about this earlier in the show, the play-in games for the guys are all in Dayton, Ohio on Tuesday and Wednesday, tomorrow and Wednesday. And the play-in for the girls, for the ladies, is at the site of their regional. So
right.
The Lady Bears have their play-in, and they've been assigned a play-in game in Austin, Texas, against Stephen F. Austin. Your thoughts on that?
Well, the Lady Bears are, I think, 2.5-point favorites already in that. And, Stephen F. Austin's got a lot of tradition, too, going back a ways. But I think this is certainly a winnable game for the Lady Bears. But then they'd hit Texas, I guess, in the next round in Austin.
Were there any teams that made the men's field of 68 that you thought should not be there?
No.
I agree with you. I think they all should, yeah. How about you guys?
Hey, Art, I want to switch topics just real quickly because you've obviously followed the baseball Bears. Are we in another season where their pitching's going to be their downfall?
Looks that way. I mean, the starting pitching is just not good. They've got some good bullpen arms, very inconsistent with the pitching. So, I mean, they won a low-scoring game on Friday, which is typical, and then, they had to outscore them on Saturday, and they couldn't do that on Sunday. So that is of concern because that's been their downfall the last 2 years.
Is it a lack of resources from an NIL standpoint? I mean, are the SEC, Big 12 teams just swallowing up all the good arms, or do you have a theory?
That may very well be the case, Dwight, really might. They have obviously recruited people that they thought were going to have success at this level, and they've really failed to develop them. But it may be that they just don't have the talent that some of the Power Fours do. Now, they should be all right playing on their own level, as Liberty was. They won 2 out of 3 in that, but the pitching really wasn't good throughout the weekend, at least Saturday, Sunday.
Was the Friday starter Yusufchuk? I assume it was.
Yeah.
Well, he appears to be a little bit more consistent this year as he had been last. Is that your thought process as well?
A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's not a Friday shutdown ace, but he's serviceable. He's the one guy that probably can go the longest. Lucas, the Mizzou transfer, started on Saturday. He wasn't around long. And Owen Slater on Sunday, and he wasn't either. So then they just have to piecemeal it together and kind of manage the bullpen as to who they can get innings out of.
Now, in this week's case, I believe I don't have the schedule, but I think, don't they play Arkansas State like maybe tomorrow? Is that right?
Yeah, and they're 15-6 and just beat Southern Miss 2 out of 3. So they'll be formidable. That's going to be a miserable day. Going to be a high of about 48 and windy. But they've played it worse.
Oh, yeah.
And then they're at home this weekend.
I can remember, I think this was under Coach Rowe and not Coach Cutton, but way back many years ago, they're playing in the Turquoise tournament out in New Mexico. Were they playing in that when you were first here?
When I was first here, they were. I think that had stopped by the late 80s, but they used to go out there every year.
Well, the one that they played in began I think probably within the first half of the first inning, sleeting, and they played that game. Well, now, obviously it didn't sleet the entire game, but that's always a lot of fun when you're playing in that kind of temperature. No thanks.
Oh, yeah, yeah, beautiful. But at altitude, that's going to happen. Could happen here.
Well, except I think this weekend when Middle Tennessee comes in here, I think it's going to be fairly warm. At least that's what they tell us anyway.
Oh, my gosh, yes. I mean, it's going to be like 82, I think, on Friday. Very nice throughout the weekend, so no weather problems then.
That's still too cool for me. I prefer 92, frankly.
It's amazing, though, Art. I walked in the studio this morning. There's not a space heater in here. Can you believe Ned Reynolds has not broken out the space heater?
Wait till tomorrow.
Well, I'm told that it's pretty normally warm in there anyway.
No, it's it's comfortable for normal people. It's probably a little bit chilly for Ned.
I've got to wear an overcoat in here.
Art, before you came on, and it's a favorite topic of mine just because I'd like to see the problem solved. Your theory about the attendance woes for Missouri State.
Well, they don't have woes for football. I'd heard y'all talking about the Wednesday night game with Florida International, and yeah, that wasn't a pleasant night. It had been raining before, and I got my wheelchair stuck in the mud in the president's tent before the game, so I had to have some assistance with that. I did watch that one in a suite, but I looked it up. They had 8,700 that night for the game. But no, your point being, I see about. You're right. We don't have a local newspaper. That used to be the point where everybody was, it's in the paper. Let's go. It's important. Never, ever now. So, you have to depend on your phone. You need to get the free Missouri State app, and then you'll get notices on absolutely everything they do, including stunt and all the other things. But the football, basketball, baseball, softball. That's all on there.
And Art, that's a great resource. But a point that you just made that I think, especially growing up, my favorite thing to do was to read the newspaper.
Me too.
And how do you build a following is when you tell the stories about the local teams, and you get to know Charlie Spoonhour, and you get to know Winston Garland, and that builds a tradition, but it also makes a young kid want to go see these people they're reading about. And now that resource no longer exists.
I tell you, the Springfield Daily Citizen does. Ryan Collingwood has some great in-depth stories. It's $100 a year. And you can get some great content on everything going on in the community there. So that's the closest we have to a local newspaper. And they're serving that function, even though it's digital.
Oh, and I subscribe, and I follow it, and I appreciate that they are still covering local stories, not just sports. But then we get back into how many subscribers are there, and are they getting to the 35-year-old people that have moved in here from Washington and California and Florida? It's hard to build a tradition when they're not aware of the past. Yeah,
exactly right. They've got some great commercials with the Houghton doing the Springfield Daily Citizen delivered to your computer enchilada style,
right?
Like Springfield News. But that's a good resource there. But I mean, otherwise, you're right. I mean, it used to be in the 80s and 90s when I was doing the athletic marketing and promotions. We would place advertising on TV, on radio. There was a finite number of radio stations that you could kind of pick and choose from, and we had billboards. We had the newspaper back then, so there were a lot of ways to get the word out that are not being utilized now because it's so fragmented.
There is the key right there. It is fragmented. It still does not supersede the fact that could still be accomplished because we live in an area where, and Art, I think you'll agree with this, the populace is a little bit slower. It's older, but it's a little bit slower to adhere to change and so forth and so on. So I think if they were to go back to that, and this is my way of thinking, that if they go back to the more traditional aspect of things, it might serve a purpose. It also might not. But the bottom line that has to be answered is the fact that those basketball crowds are unacceptable, just totally unacceptable. Would you agree with that?
Well, and I mean, they do some, but local television is probably there are only two of them. So, I mean, that have all the stations. They could probably get the word out a little bit more there, but even that is less viewed now than it used to be with so many streaming services.
I have to agree with you. It is. The viewers are down, and by the very numerical nature of things, are going to be down. At the way it's all a changing society with all the ways we live and all the ways we watch and so forth and so on. It's totally different. But we're getting off into the esoteric level of
we are. I want to share my theory with Art, but I know we have to go to a break. So, Ned, that was a radio tease.
Arthur, we're going to take a time out. Is that all right?
Yes, sir.
We'll take a quick time out in the starting lineup. Don't go away. We'll be right back in a second.
You're listening to the starting lineup with Scott Purrier, Ned Reynolds, and Art Haynes on 102.1 The One.